Tom and Diane Peace are at home in Lockhart when spring hits Central Texas. A nurseryman and designer, Tom also writes about the challenges of layering a perennial garden in tough conditions. It's a topic especially close to home, since when the spring garden gives way to their summer perennials, they head to Colorado until fall, where Tom continues his design work and plant propagation. He brings some of them back to Lockhart to continue growing the plants he's found on worldly expeditions, ones that can stand up to Central Texas, even when you're not around to tend them every day. His own garden is a test ground for some of the plants he sells to nurseries and a testament to layering for seasonal evolution. But in 1991, when he and Diane first settled in, it was new ground to furnish.
The backyard was not a garden yet. It was clothesline poles and shed and a row of oleanders and lawn and the big trees that we have.
Over time, Tom turned the standard backyard into more than a privacy break between houses.
The two forms of structure are one, the perimeter, either done by plantings or fencing, and then the core structure of plants, the bones of the garden, whether they're palms or shrubs or agaves, yuccas, and those high-profile power plants, the ones that you can do everything else around in the garden, but they hold their own, they're center stage all year round.
Against them, he plays off the seasons, especially spring, with annuals and perennials that favor the heavy black clay soil and tempered shade.
When I first came to live in Texas, I was here only seasonally and still am. So I was here for the winter season. So what I noticed were those plants, the cool season bulbs, the ephemerals, the blue bonnets, the wildflowers, and how they filled that seasonal niche.
As a plant globetrotter, Tom is always testing the limits of what can grow in a Lockhart backyard. As a gardener, he imagines how each space will look in the seasons to come.
And then I would layer under those plants that would come up in the hot season, so the garden wouldn't just be a wasteland, but it would have something that would continue to progress and grow into it. But it's mostly based on, this is when I'm here, this is when I'm outside, enjoying the garden, being in the garden. And it remains my greatest pursuit to encourage people in Central Texas, certainly to garden in the wintertime. I know there's a huge excitement and thrust to garden now that spring's here, but if you are out in October and November, you can plant a world of things to enjoy all winter long and into the spring, and many times with really wonderful weather, not so many mosquitoes, fire ants are at bay. It's a different experience to be out in the garden. This is my style, not that I invented it, but that I've adopted, and it is partly inspired by what I see in the wild. If I'm hiking in the mountains or in the woods or traveling to other countries and looking at wild floral displays, even sometimes what you'll see in the hill country or in Central Texas in spring on good years, you will see both the large palette expanse of color. And sometimes you'll see, little exciting vignettes where you have, a rain lily up with a blue bonnet and an Indian paintbrush, and you see a combination of textures and colors that works, and that is inspirational. And you'll take that home and you recreate it, sometimes with the same plants, sometimes with others. But if I was to give the style of this garden a name, I'd call it controlled chaos. There's a certain amount of both elements, and they're not in opposition, but they kind of are both in play at any one time.
Paramount to his style is endeavoring a habitat for wildlife. Along with water and natural food sources, he plants tiered density for nesting and protection. He values leaf cover, a natural soil amendment for heavy soil, but also to shelter insects and lizards that take care of the garden when he's away. In his commercial greenhouse in Lockhart, Tom forges his travels, experiments, and homegrown experience to introduce gardeners at local nurseries to his discoveries. Although some of his finds are ephemeral, to be replanted next year, others carry on through freeze and drought, ready and waiting when he and Diane return from Colorado.
I will coddle things to a point to give them the best chance, but then, I'm gone for half a year and they're on their own. Those things that survive, survive with a little bit of help from our friends, and they have to be tough enough. There are aspects that are out of my control. There are aspects that I can control a little bit and that I influence and try to finesse. But a lot of times it's in the hands of other forces, certainly.